Hello, I'm Jolene with Healing Tree Wellness. I'm a doula, I'm a massage therapist. I'm also a birth photographer and I teach belly dancing and yoga. Today, I wanted to share with you a self bind. The Malaysian culture, they call it Bengkung belly binding, and it's a self bind. So, this will show you how to do the bind on yourself, even though it is a little bit easier to have someone help you put the bind on. So a little bit about the Malaysian culture. They actually use the bind for 40 days, and they have this, kind of idea of bringing a lot of warmth back into the body because women tend to lose a lot of warmth during the labor and delivery process. So they actually have nothing cold, no cold food, no cold drinks, all bringing warmth into the body. And they do that for the 40 days. And they also just really support women in recovering during the postpartum time to encourage them to get as much rest as they can. They actually even have this idea that the first 40 days in the postpartum time will actually represent their health for the next 40 years. So it's kind of cool to really, it's worth putting some focus into the postpartum time and adding, some of these rituals and things into your postpartum practice to really support your healing. It's pretty amazing. And then a question of like how long do you wear a belly bind? So if you're going to use a bind, in the Malaysian culture, they actually use it. They say it's okay to wear it as much as you want during that time, and they encourage you to wear it um, more often than not, during that time. But I feel like it's helpful to kind of listen to your body and see kind of what your own personal needs are. It is a very, to me, it's like a very comforting feeling. It's nice and cozy. It's like a nice hug around your torso, and it feels really good. Um, but not every woman wants to wear it that much. So I feel like if you're wearing it for at least 4 hours a day, for a couple of weeks, you're still going to get a lot of benefit from the belly bind. And there's also different ideas on whether you should sleep in the bind. I feel like, a little nap here and there, you're going to be fine wearing the bind. It's kind of a little bit of effort to put the bind on, so you don't want to have to take it on and off all the time. But maybe at night, maybe you want to be able to move around more freely. But definitely listen to your body and see kind of what feels right for you that way. Because there's other information out there that says you shouldn't sleep in the bind. So um, do at your own risk. Okay. Um, so with the belly bind, I like to use a warming oil. When I first learned this technique, I learned to use like a paste, like a as like a dry powder with, and I'd add water to and created a paste and would use that on the belly. But that was kind of messy and a lot more effort. So I like to use this essential oil blend, and I can put a link in the bottom below to find the oils that I use for the warming oil. And then I would massage that on the tummy in a clockwise motion on the postpartum mom's tummy. And the clockwise motion encourages the process of elimination. And then if I'm using the warming oil, I like to use an inner layer before I put the bind on. So maybe I would just wrap it around and tuck it, underneath the side to kind of hold it there. And I like to wear, when I'm doing the bind, I like to wear like a sports bra and maybe, or, just something, easy to kind of work around on the top, and then maybe some leggings or something that's really easy to move around on the bottom as well, to make it so I can kind of tuck the bind where I want to after when I'm done putting it on. So that's the inner layer, but I'm not going to use that today because I'm not using the essential oil blend on myself. And then here is the Bangkok bind. So it is a lot of fabric, and right now it's in a daisy chain, and the daisy chain helps me manage the fabric when I'm putting it on because it is a lot. Okay, so I'll undo it just a little bit, and I'll show you how to do the daisy chain at the end. But to start, I like to start with like a little knot, but I like to see kind of where we're at with the fabric. I want just enough for me to be able to put the fabric in my teeth so I can hold it myself and do this myself. Okay, and you want to make sure that you're really getting it kind of flared, and you really want to get it nice on your hip area, just kind of like just above your pubic bone. You want to really include that into the bind, and if you don't include that, it can put a lot of pressure onto the pelvic floor, and that can be a problem. So definitely include the hips. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little double knot here to kind of tie it initially, to hold it into place. Okay, and then, yep, so just enough for me to hold in my teeth, and then I'm gonna undo a little bit and wrap it around. And you want to kind of like a middle flare. You don't want it like all the way open, but you don't want it too scrunchy. You want it kind of like in the middle when you wrap it around. So you're gonna wrap around, tie a knot, wrap around, tie a knot. Okay, and you want to really try to keep it in the midline and go on just right up the center here from your belly button. So, and on for this one, I'm gonna wrap around the bottom and bring it around to go again. I've also seen it the other direction though. I've seen it where you can wrap it around the top and go around. It's not really a huge deal either way. Some of it can even just feel like personal preference. You could also do 2 or even 3 knots, and you want to stay right on top of the fabric. It does create a little bit more space in between, the rows, but if you have a lot of fabric, it can be helpful. But I feel like for most people, one time around is enough, and is enough, like just what you want. You want enough fabric to kind of go through the whole length of the torso up to the ribs and under like the sternum here. So, so depending on the length of your bind will maybe depend on how many knots you do. Okay, and each time around, you want to overlap the last row just a little bit. So, and you want to kind of just make sure things are nice and spaced out evenly here. And you want it nice and tight. You of course want to be able to breathe, but it is kind of the point is bringing kind of everything nice, tightly back into place. Okay, so you can see it's a fairly simple, process in general. Yeah, kind of making sure that these are nice and overlapped nicely. Okay, and then once I get it all the way around, I'll tie these two together into a double knot as well at the top, and it will hold it nice and tight. And then I can just kind of tuck these pieces down in, but you notice that I come like all the way up to the end of the ribs and the sternum here. And then if I want to, I can kind of bring everything out, you know, have even this like a tank top that I can kind of pull over it. And then I'll also kind of like pull things underneath and bring it on top of the bind a little bit. So it makes it a lot easier to go to the bathroom later. And yeah, so you just kind of wear it underneath, you know, whatever you're wearing, and it's nice and cozy. And it's very important to come all the way up. If you don't make it all the way up, you want to like add an additional piece to your bind, because it will leave like a poofy spot there that makes it hard to get rid of later. So you want everything nice and tucked and pulled in, because this is also using in that, you know, postpartum time, it's using the relaxin hormone to help bring everything back into place as well. So you've kind of got a nice window of time when the relaxin is still supporting your body, that hormone. And then, so if you have a C-section though, know that this is not recommended in the beginning. You'd want to wait the 6 weeks until your body's, you know, had some time to heal, and then still using it for a couple of weeks after that can be really beneficial still. So, but in the beginning, if you have a vaginal birth, you want to wear this. You want to start using this in that first week. Around day 4 to 7 is optimal. So if you can start wearing the bind, you know, right off the bat and get used to it and start bringing everything back to where it's supposed to be, it's really helpful and beneficial. And these are binds. This is a bind that I made myself, and I tie-dyed myself. There is other, you know, places that you can get the binds, so I'll try to put some links below for that as well. And if you're interested in a video on how to make your own belly bind, let me know. I'll do that. All right, thank you.